In this video, I'm going to walk through the exact system that we set up for Dan's yoga studio to help him grow to 427 members in 11 months. Okay. Now, before we get into all the details of exactly what the system entails, I wanted to share with you his results. So you can see this full video where he explains his results with this system on our website, untapped-revenue.com. And so I just wanted to cover a couple of his results here. And so in his first month, his first 30 days with this system, he was able to generate 163 trial purchases and converted 50% onto membership. So he had 82 members sign up in that first month. Now, over the course of 11 months from February to December 2023, he averaged 163 new walk-ins each month. Okay, so he had a total of 1,803 first visits throughout that 11-month time period. He went from 200 to 427 members, so that's 227 net members. So keep in mind, he was also losing some members every single month as well. He also had 256 Punch Pass purchases in those 11 months as well. We were also able to get him from 22 to 161 Google reviews in those 11 months as well. And so I wanted to showcase some proof here of his actual numbers. And so you can see a screenshot in December 2022 where he was at 200 members, and in February 1st to December 31st of 2023, he was up at 427 members. You can see here also 1,608 leads came from Facebook from January to December, and his average cost per lead was just under $6. And you can see here a screenshot of his total first visits. This was taken from that 11-month time period of 1,803 first visits. And I also wanted to get a screenshot here during that same time period. He had 256 Punch Pass purchases that you can see there. And so here's what I'm going to cover in this video. I'm going to cover how we were able to drop Dan's lead cost by 50%, how he generated those 163 new walk-ins every single month for those 11 months, how he was able to maintain a 66% booking rate of all the leads that came through, how he maintained a 95% show up rate of all bookings, and then of course, how he converted 38% of those trialers on to memberships. Okay, so here's what we're not doing with this system. We're not using cookie cutter approaches. We're not relying on just one marketing channel like Facebook to drive traffic. We're not running free challenges, free low barrier offers, or bait and switch style offers. We're not using AI bots or ChatGPT for lead nurturing, and we're not spending more than $40 a day on ads. Here's what we are doing. We're using data to make every single decision that we do in his account. We're using multiple marketing channels to drive traffic. We're running paid offers. We're personalizing all lead nurturing with real humans. We're not using any AI at all. And we're spending $15 to $40 a day in ad spend. Okay, no more or no less than that. And so I know what you're thinking. Okay, so how the heck did he do this? How did he get such insane results in today's time? So there's three main components of the system that we put in place for Dan. Number one was enhancing his lead flow. Of course, if you don't have leads, you cannot get bookings, sales, and you can't grow your membership. Number two is going to be 5-star lead to member experience. Okay, so if you're getting people in your doors, but they're not converting onto memberships, then obviously you cannot grow your business. And then number three, which in our opinion is the most untapped potential in the market today for fitness studios, is organic activation. Okay, so creating omnipresence and being everywhere when people are on social media. And so let's cover these three pillars. Now, first and foremost, I wanted to mention that this 3-pillar system is so effective because it works in harmony. Okay, everything is working together to build omnipresence and to actually put you on the map. Okay, if people are looking for services that you provide, whether it be CrossFit, whether it be MMA, whether it be yoga, we want people to think of you. And that's exactly what this does. And when you have all three components working together, that's exactly what you get. Okay. And so the goal with this 3-pillar system is to walk new people in your doors consistently each and every month. And so let's cover the first system here. So how do we enhance lead flow? So in this first phase of our system, we created minimal viable ads to figure out what their audience wanted to see. Okay. So we wanted to figure out what was the best offer to run for his particular location. Every location is slightly different. And so we needed to figure out what was going to work for him. And so the sole purpose of this first phase is to find a winning offer. Okay. We let their audience tell us what they wanted, and then they gave it to us. Okay. So we're basically asking them, what do you want? Okay. And by asking that question, we're able to then figure out exactly what the audience wants in his location and then give it to them. Every location is unique, different demographics, incomes, lifestyles, cultures, audiences, etc. This all impacts how we should market. And so this system is designed to do that. Okay. Competition from one location to the next impacts how you should market, right? If everybody's running the same style ads, you want to run something different so that you stand out in the competition. And so I pulled this from a location that was running a 6-week 6-week challenge. And I wanted to showcase why you need to have some market research in order to improve your results. And so what we found is that most other competitors in their location were running these free 6-week programs. Okay. And so while they aren't all identical, they're all running this similar style ad. So body transformation challenge, free 6-week program, 12-week lean body challenge, another 6-week program. This even looks similar to this ad. Like these two look very similar. One's just targeting men, one's targeting women. Okay. 6-week transformation here. And so my point with this is everything looks the same. Okay. If you're trying to stand out with your competition and you're running exactly what everybody else is running, look, people have seen this before. Everybody is running this in this location. And so we don't want to do that. So what we do with offer testing is we allow it to sidestep the need to do this customer research, and we just let the audience tell us what offer to run by using data to figure out what people want to see. Okay. And so with offer testing, we're isolating one variable and we're keeping everything the exact same. And so you can see here in Dan's ads, we're basically using the exact same copy. The only difference here is the offer in this section here and the headline with the unique offer. Everything's identical so that we can figure out, what is the most appealing offer to run for this location. And then with that data, we're then able to pick and choose a correct offer to run. So after the end of the test, let's just say we're running this test with a couple different offers here. We're giving them each about 1,100 impressions, and we're looking at the stats here to determine what's the winner. So in this example here, the $1.87 cost per lead offer clearly is getting the most attraction in this location. And so that would be the offer that we go with. Now, this process by itself, if you're going to take one thing away from this video, offer testing can drop your lead cost by over 50%. I'm serious. Like just by running this one thing, you can seriously have a massive impact in your cost per result and your overall results in general. And so I wanted to showcase this. So you can see here, there's a bunch of different offers in this offer test that we ran for this other location. And you can see the drastic difference here in the cost per lead. So if you just decided, hey, I wanted to run a 10-day low barrier offer here, you're looking at $19 cost per lead on average versus an offer like this, which was a 15-day program, was getting $6 leads. And this one down here, a 21-day program, was getting $3.03 leads. Like this is drastically different than if you compare it to these other offers that are significantly more expensive. Okay. And so by running this, we're able to find an offer that looks like this, where we can keep our costs down as low as possible and stand out from the competition. And so here's a couple screenshots of 2024 results from January to February. You can pause here and take a look at some of these results, but these are all ridiculously cheap ads. Okay. And these are all from different accounts. Here's another screenshot page. In 2023, you can see long durations of this. So July to January, this is July to December, this is February to December, and you can see thousands of leads here. Okay. And all of them are averaging below $10 and in some cases under $5. Okay. And so I wanted to showcase this because when you get this right, you can have longevity in your campaign. Okay. Here's some other examples, January to December, 2023. This was Dan's screenshot here. You can also see September, 770, 2,000 leads down here from January at $5.24. And so when you get this right, you can seriously get a crap ton of volume and for cheaper than you're probably paying right now for your ads. So what do we do once we have the winning offer? Okay. So basically we decided, okay, this was the winner and now we're going to run the system with it. So at this point we have a new offer, it's pumping out leads, but now we need a way to get those leads to actually walk in the door. And so what we did for Dan is we put in place our follow-up process. And so that's the second step to this, the three main components. So 5-star lead to member experience. So by providing leads and trialers with an experience they won't forget, both before and during their first visit, so that more convert. So leads mean nothing if they don't book, show up, and buy. So we got their leads to book, show up, so that they in studio could get them to buy. And that's exactly what Dan did. So how was it done? We leverage automation to maximize the speed of our follow-up. Okay. This is basically just the first message or two that's going to be automated, right? But we structure it in a way where it feels personal. Okay. You don't want to make it feel like a bot. If somebody sniffs out that it's an AI that's messaging them, you've lost that contact. We're using human touch and personalization to make an ideal experience for leads. We organize contacts based on actions that they take and group them in specific follow-up sequences. Okay. If they cancel an appointment, they're going to go into a specific sequence to get them to rebook. If they no-show, we're going to put them into a specific sequence to get them to rebook, so on and so forth. Okay. We then systemized their trial tracking and messaging to enhance conversions on the back end. So what's really important about your trials is that people are actually consuming them. So if you have a 7-day trial, you want people to come to 2 to 3 of those classes throughout that trial period, if they come to one and never come back, the likelihood of them converting onto a membership after is very, very low. And so this system is designed to get people to actually consume the trial, start a habit, and help convert them on the back end. So this is very important. A person's experience before coming into your studio is just as important when they arrive. And so that's why we designed a specific follow-up sequence to do this, okay? Plus, when you get this right, bookings and show-ups skyrocket, okay? This is how Dan averaged a booking and show-up rate of 66% for his booking rate and 95% show-up rates, okay? And so you can see here in his paid marketing side of things, he had a 45.75% booking rate. From the organic side, he had an 86.38% booking rate. And then you can see the show up rates here of all bookings, 95.27% for paid ads and 98.54% for anybody who came from the website. And what you'll notice about this, and something that we're going to get into by the end of this video, is how he was able to get, 1,100 leads organically. Okay. He also had, close to 1,400 leads here, or it's around 1,450 leads here from paid ads. You'll notice that the screenshot I took of his Facebook ads was 1,600. The reason this isn't 1,600 here for this time period, when we were looking at that screenshot of the ads, is because there's a lot of duplicates that'll come through. And so this is accounting for those duplicates. And so it's a little bit less than it would be on the Facebook side of things. So here's the 3 vital things that you need to do in order to be successful with follow-up, and exactly what we put in place for Dan to get him the results that we got him. Number 1 is speed of interaction. You need to be replying to leads within 1 to 3 minutes. If you're waiting past 10 minutes, you are losing out on potential conversions. And so this stat over here was very interesting to me. And so once we realized how important speed of interaction was, we put this in place. And so there's a 391% increase in lead conversion when responding within 1 minute. Okay, that should say so much. Okay, and so keep this in mind. This is the number 1 thing of importance when it comes to follow-up. Number 2 is going to be your conversation guidance. And so we always want to give prospects 2 options when asking questions, no more and no less. If you give too many options, people get confused and they're not going to actually take the action you want, which is to get them booked. The next thing, you want to have you want to answer a contact's question first, followed by your question to keep the conversation moving forward. So a lot of people will ask questions, and what I find is that a lot of owners will just reply to that question and then, not really have anything to follow up to keep the conversation going. And so you always want to answer their questions regardless of the question, but then you want to follow that answer with a question to keep the conversation moving forward. Lastly, you want to know when to share things like price and when not to. In certain scenarios, if somebody's really hounding you about price, give them the price. Okay. Authenticity, transparency is very important for a lot of people. And so you just want to give them the price if they're asking for it. Plus, you want to filter out the people who aren't going to take it seriously anyways. You don't want them on your trials if they're never going to be converting onto your memberships later on anyways. However, if your prices are pretty high and in like the 200s, you obviously want to make sure that you're avoiding that question as best as possible so that you can get them in to experience what it is that you provide so that they know, the value is there. So if they're paying $200 for a membership, they've never been there before, and you're saying that it's $200, people might be swayed to not come in because of the price, versus if they come in, they experience it, they love it, then it'll make more sense to pay that amount for those prospects. Okay, the next thing is human personalization. Okay, using AIs and bots and automations to do all your messaging is a mistake. Okay, we need to make sure that people know it's a real person behind the keyboard messaging them, because they're going to be more likely to follow through. And so here's a couple tips. Be informal and friendly. Don't respond like a business or AI, respond like a friend. The amount of times I see people sending messages out that are like, hey, this is, business name. Would you like to get signed up for our new membership at a 50% off? It's like, would you send that to your friend? Probably not. And so you want to make sure you're texting people just like you would text a friend. Don't use commas or periods. If you do when you're normally texting, then that's fine. But if you don't, like for the most part, if I'm sending a message to a friend, I'm not using punctuation. Okay. I'm just sending that message. And so you want to make it feel real. Use emojis. Emojis are very powerful to convey tonality in your messaging. And so by using emotions, you can make people feel better. You probably use emotions when you're texting your friends. And so it works a lot better in that sense, especially if your demographic that you're trying to target is female. Okay. So here's an example of some texting that we did for Dan. And so you can see here, this contact reaches out. This first message that we have isn't in this screenshot, but we're basically asking, hey, is this China-sa? So you can see here, amazing. If you don't mind me asking, what are your health and fitness goals? This is a very personalized question. You can see here, they gave us an answer, and keep in mind the time that we're replying. So this is in 1 minute. This is in 2 minutes. Okay. We go to the next page here. We're answering their question and we're following up with another question. Once again, they're answering pretty quickly. We're answering within a minute. answering within a minute. And we're only ever giving them two options. Would you like a morning or evening class? Does Wednesday at this time or Friday at this time? Okay, so they said evening. So we're giving them two options, 2 different days in the evening. Okay, and then at this point, they said Friday works. We then book them onto an appointment. And after we book them for that appointment, little tip here is always ask if they want to bring a friend. If they're coming in to do a class, then having a friend with them is going to help convert them on the back end because people enjoy doing classes and working out with friends. Okay, and that's pretty much it for the follow-up. That's a good example. Here's what I was mentioning where I say most people sound like a business. Here's just some examples here, like weekend flash sale. Hey, this weekend we are doing a flash sale on our domination workshop. Like that is not a personalized message. Okay, none of these are. Hi, right now we're offering an awesome sweetheart deal. Get 14 classes for $200. Like this is all very salesy. Like this is not personalized. This you can clearly tell is a bot here. And so we want to make sure we're avoiding doing things like this. Okay. And so people are sending messages like that and they're wondering why their booking rate's 17%, 20%, 25%. And it's because they're not taking the time to actually, nurture their conversations. Okay. So now you see how we enhanced our messaging to the leads. However, not all customer journeys look like this. Okay. So some leads are going to be non-responsive. They didn't opt in, leads that respond, then stop responding, bookings that get canceled, people that no-show, and more. And so this is where we designed part of the system for Dan so that when people take certain actions, we're going to organize them and systemize messaging to get them back on track. Okay. So this is a system that we use called High Level. If you're unfamiliar, it basically is just a marketing management system that allows us to track customers, track their journeys, and then automate a lot of these processes to getting them back in, in the proper structure to get them booking and showing up for their appointments. So you can see here that part of how this works is whenever a contact moves to a specific pipeline here, there's going to be a subset of actions that occur. And so for the trial example here, when somebody starts a trial, we're going to move them into a separate pipeline that's going to track them throughout their trial. So this is just one example here. And so you can see here trial 1 day after they started, 10 days left in their trial, 5 days left, and 1 day left. And so as this contact is moving through the trial, they're updating in this pipeline, and we're going to have actions that are depending on where they're at in that trial so that we can help convert more of these trialers onto memberships. Okay. And so something we did with Dan is we directly integrated with his payment processor so that we could track these trial purchases, we could track member purchases, and we could personalize messages for people throughout their trial. And so as I mentioned here, depending on where they're at in their trial, they're going to be getting custom manual action messages. And I'm going to go through that process in a second. And so you can see here, when somebody is just started their trial, this is the first manual action that's going to populate. If they're 11 days left, they're going to get this one, 6 days left, 3 days left, so on and so forth. And so these manual actions, keep in mind, this is not an automated process. This is a systemized process. And so those messages I just showed you in these screenshots here, these are not automatically sending. What's happening is they're going to populate, and Dan was able to look in at a list of contacts. And so over here, you can see this is where the manual actions populate. And so you could see, if this contact was 1 day after starting their trial, you can see that there's, 5 contacts here that need a message. And so all Dan had to do was click Let's Start. And that's going to pull in, them into the conversation with this contact. So you can see here, here's a contact. Here's the message that populates. And now what Dan had to do is take a look at this and see, okay, here's all the appointments that this contact has gone through. Here's when their last appointment was. Here's all their trial information down here. Let me just move my face here. So you can see they're on a trial week. It started on this date down here, March 1st. And so what we can do now is we can decide, okay, do we want to send this message? But here's what Dan did really well and why his conversion rate onto memberships was 38%. He would not just send this templated message, he would add a personalization to this message. And so if he knew that this contact here, let's say they came into class and they had a sore shoulder, he was going to add into this message here something about that sore shoulder, something about that prospect that was personalized to them, and then send that message. Okay. And then as soon as that message would send, it's going to go to the next contact, and the same thing is going to happen. He's going to have the ability to customize the message and then send that out. Okay. So after sending a message, it automatically brings you to the next messages until they're all done. Okay. And this systemizes messaging, but not automates it. Okay. And that's because we do not want to be sending AI, blanket templated messages to the people who are in your studio. We want to personalize them as best we can. Now, the amount of time that this actually saved Dave is the number one piece of feedback that we got. And for most of our clients, this is exactly what they say. It saves them countless hours because they don't have to filter through all their trialers to figure out who needs a message. Okay, this also helped Dan average 38% trial to membership conversion, as I already mentioned. Okay, so now at this point in his system, we have the new offer. It's up and running and pumping out leads. We have the follow-up system that's booking those leads and walking them in the doors. But now, what is the most important part is we need something sustainable and consistent in his lead flow so that we can make sure that when the ads are fluctuating, we're still growing and we're still getting enough leads to, keep that growth up. Okay, so the last component of this 3-pillar system is organic activation, where we create omnipresence so your location is known by all in your area. Okay, organic traffic is the most consistent and impactful growth engine that there is. Okay, and so without organic systems, it feels like you're on a roller coaster, because what ends up happening is your ads are doing well and then they start to falter a bit. And so you need a way to kind of account for this. And so the other problem with it is when you're just running Facebook or Instagram, all your eggs are in one basket. If you're not getting any leads or any traffic from your website, then what would happen if Facebook and Instagram suddenly died off and your results just faltered? Like, your business would start to drown and you would probably have to close your doors. And so the other thing I wanted to mention is website leads are the highest quality prospects. Okay, they are actively searching for a solution to their problem. And so they're on Google and they're looking for gyms and they're looking for yoga studios. And so they're the highest quality prospect because they're at the very top of the pyramid. They are an active buyer looking for a solution. So how do we do this for them? So for Dan, we activated his organic system by boosting his Google rankings, skyrocketing his social proof, and increasing his website conversions. And so, full disclosure, most studio websites suck. They generate little to no traffic at all. And so the first thing that we always do with new clients is we turn their website into a lead member machine like it should be. And so here's an example of Rocket Cycle, who is a client of ours who used to have a website like this that converted at 0.5%. We updated their website and now they are getting close to 80 to 90 leads every single month. And keep in mind, these are high quality leads. I'm talking about booking rates in the 80s, show up rates in the 90s, so on and so forth. Okay. So part of what we were able to do to get his website and turn it into a profitable system for his business is we took the winning offer that we ran in the first stage, which was our offer test. We took that offer that ran after we ran that test and we put it on his website. And so in his case here, the 10 for 10 is an example for this location that worked really well. We just put this form on the main section of their website, and this immediately helped with conversions. So by simply optimizing the website for conversions, lead flow increased. Okay. Plus the ads were driving more interest and thus more organic traffic. So a lot of people forget this, but when you're running ads, you build awareness. And so people will search your business and go to your website. And if your website isn't set up properly, it's not designed for conversions, then those prospects are going to check your website out and then leave it and not actually take the action that you want to take. So because the website converted at a higher percentage now, by just simply putting that offer on it, more people were opting in on the website as well. And because we had the lead member system dialed, so all that nurturing that we were doing, the proper messaging, replying within a minute, more website leads were booking and signing up for memberships. Okay. And so with the website now designed as a funnel, the main goal is to make sure that the website is actually going to collect people's information. If people are going to your website, but you're not getting any leads from it, then it's not designed properly. And so by getting this in place for Dan, we were able to generate so much more traffic to his studio just by simply changing some adjustments. Okay. And so the last step was, if your website's set up for conversions, you have a good offer on it. It's actually designed as a funnel. It's not just designed as a page that sits there with information. The last thing we need is to actually get traffic to it. And so what we want to do is actually rank on Google for search words that people are searching. So in this case here, yoga in Barrie was an example. And you can see here that we want to be up here. So if anybody's typing in, gym near me, yoga classes near me, and you provide those services, you want to be in the top 3 map pack here, because that's going to eat up all the traffic. And so how do we get our studio partners into the top 3? How do we get Dan up there? And so to do this, we set up the 80-20 of SEO. And so we find 5 major keywords to rank for. And so for the most part, these are going to be keywords like gym near me, yoga classes near me. The main services that you offer is going to be likely your main keyword. And so once we find those, we're then going to add them to your titles, and your meta descriptions. And so as you can see here for Rocket Cycle, we put the best spin classes in Toronto. Spin classes in Toronto was their major keyword. And so we put it there, and we also put it in their meta description. Okay. And so on Google, if you were to type in Rocket Cycle, you're going to see that it says Rocket Cycle, the best spin studio in Toronto. And then just the description below is going to say, Rocket Cycle is the best spin studio in Toronto, outdoor, indoor cycling and spin classes. And it has all of those keywords within it, which is going to help you rank for those keywords on Google. Number 3, we added the business to all listings to make sure their name, address, and phone number all matched. Okay, this is a really important ranking factor on Google. If you have differences in your address on Facebook, Instagram, Google, etc., then Google gets confused, and that's going to cause problems, and it's going to reduce your rankings. And so here's an example of what that looks like. You can see here at the bottom footer section of their website, it matches their Facebook page address and it matches their Google address. And this is across all listings. So that's on Yelp. That's on every single listing here that you could see on this page. So Apple, Bing, Facebook, Amazon, Alexa, Yelp, so on and so forth. And so quick little thing here that I forgot to mention is that you can use Yext, which is a free platform that puts your business on all listing platforms, which will help your website rank better. And it'll also allow you to automate this process of basically updating all of your addresses, phone numbers, emails to match perfectly, which is going to help you. Okay, number 4, we added schema code to the website to make sure that search engines knew exactly what the business was about. And so you can go to schemamarkupgenerator.com and you can do this for free. Basically, all you're going to do is go to Schema Generator. You're going to select local business. So in this example screenshot here, I did it for a website. What you're going to want to select here is local business. And then you're going to fill in all the information that shows up below. Okay. So it's going to ask you for your business name, your business hours, your social channels, and it's going to give you this big script here. Okay. And all you're going to do once you get that script is you're going to copy it and you're going to paste it in the heading section of your website. And what this is going to do is it's going to allow search engines to know exactly what your business is about to then be able to help you rank better on Google. Okay. Number 5, we then took Dan's Google listing and we flooded it with reviews. And so an example screenshot here I used for Rocket Cycle, we took their website from 56 Google reviews to 278 Google reviews. This is a massive signal to Google saying that this business is legitimate, it's reputable. And so what's going to happen now is not only do you have more social proof, whereby this is going to help, people be more confident in coming to your studio, but it is also going to help you rank more on Google and push you to the top of Google. Okay. And so by simply doing those 5 things I just mentioned, we were able to rank them in the top 3 in Google for their keywords. And so you can see here, group training near me, yoga classes near me. They're in either the top 1 to 3 in the 5-mile radius around here. And for group training, same situation. Of course, this is a highway here. And so to get rankings across this section here is just a little more difficult, but that's basically why, you can see that difference there. Okay. So now that we have that in place, the website consistently generates lead flow every single month. Okay. So the key thing here that I wanted to point out is that when you have organic leads and paid leads coming into your business, that's when you're able to generate walk-ins to the same extent that Dan was able to. So he was able to get 166 new walk-ins every single month because he was getting traffic from paid, from Facebook, Instagram. He was also getting traffic from Google, from word of mouth, from his referrals. And when you have all these things in place together, you have this harmony and you're able to get some pretty damn good results. Okay, so now we have the 3 main components in place and operating for Dan. So once the system is in place, how do we keep it consistent? How do we actually keep the business growing moving forward? And so to do that, we need to track, analyze, and review numbers religiously to constantly improve the system. And that's exactly what we did for Dan. And so the reason we need to do this is because the only way we can identify bottlenecks is if we have the data to know where there's an issue. Okay. And so during a customer's journey, if we notice that there's a problem with, bookings, and so the follow-up might be the issue here, then we need to fix the follow-up system. Okay. If it has to do with actual conversions on the back end, then we know that there might be a problem in Studio, and then we're able to actually roll out fixes. And so here's just a tracking sheet that we utilize to track our clients' numbers. And so you can see here, we track all the auto pays, the prepaids, the punch passes, the trial purchases, how many first visits that they're generating, so that we can track revenue, the trial revenue that came in, the monthly revenue added, immediate revenue, and then lifetime revenue of all of our clients. And then we report on this. And that way we can send those stats every single month saying, hey, here's the results of this month. Here's where we're struggling. Here's where we're doing well, and then make adjustments based on those numbers. So when Dan combined these 3 pillars, it created consistency in scaling his business. Okay. We were able to enhance his lead flow. We put in place the 5-star lead to member experience. We activated his organic systems, and then we put in place religious data tracking to improve all of those pillars moving forward. When you let your audience, number one, tell you what offer to run, you get a lower cost per lead, and thus you generate more leads. You stand out from your competition. You increase bookings and show-ups because people actually want the offer that you're offering, and you get more organic leads because people who see your paid ads are going to go to your website, take a look at your information, and then opt in through your website that way. When you have a lead to member experience like no other, you get higher quality and more engaged leads because you're having conversations with them before they book. You increase your booking and show up rates so more leads actually walk in due to those conversations that you have. You increase your trial to membership conversions because that experience before also impacts their experience when they come into the studio and their overall thoughts about your business. And you increase your amount of memberships because the quality of the people coming in your studio are much higher. They're more nurtured and they're going to be more likely to convert. And then lastly, when you have your organic system that works to actually get people in your studio's doors, you have consistency with walking in new visitors every day, even when you don't have paid ads running. You increase the lead flow from your website and paid ads because it's actually designed as a funnel and a system to get people to come in your studio, not just a page of information. You increase the amount of quality people walking in your studio's doors because, organic leads are higher quality than any other leads that you can generate. And you build omnipresence and become the most known facility in your area. Now, this is not rocket science. I'll just reiterate a lot of the things that we did for Dan. We tested offers, then ran the winning offer everywhere, put it on his website. We ran it for reactivations. We ran it, for his ads. We enhanced his customer journey. So we made that experience before they came in, just as good as when they came into the studio. We made his website into an actual funnel to generate leads. We put high value keywords on his website. We got more reviews and social proof to help his organic traffic. And then we got his website on all listings. And that helped him become the number 1 studio in his location and be able to get the results that he got. This is literally everything that we did to help Dan grow to 427 members in 11 months. I hope this video was valuable. If it was, leave it a like and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more case studies and more information on how to grow your fitness studio.